Here's our therapist position and focus for rolling the rib cage. All right, now our clients have finished the rolling the back technique, and we're going to transition into a very underworked area in regards to treating any kind of shoulder issues. So many healthcare providers and movement educators, they get so locked on trying to strengthen certain parts of the shoulder girdle when maybe some of the restriction is coming from areas that are holding. So what happens is that if now you're just over strengthening the shoulder girdle, you're really smashing that glenohumeral joint together, and maybe the top and the bottom relationships are not functional because things are way over tight in one side and way too loose on another side. But if you over strengthen both sides, now you've just smashed that humerus and the scapula together, and you lose range of motion and functionality, and then you increase pain and danger receptors, and you're not going to get a lot of change. So we're going to show you one of the best ways to be able to increase range of motion for that shoulder girdle by opening up this lateral line and opening up the lateral border of the scapula with the foam roller in a pain-free, safe way. So what Jen is going to do is she's just going to come off the foam roller. What we're going to have her do is that we're going to ask our clients, what side of the bed do you get out on? And we're going to have them just roll whatever side that is. So let's say it's Jenna's left side. We're going to have her just gently roll over to that side of the floor, and she's just going to slide off the roller. The roller is going to come out from underneath, and that's how we're going to dismount from that roller. So from there to move into our rolling the rib cage technique, what she's going to do is she's going to turn that roller perpendicularly to her body, and she's going to start the roller at about her diaphragm level. So what happens is that we don't want to take this roller lower than that, down onto that 12th or 11th rib, and put pressure on those floating ribs, because there's no support for them there, and that can actually be quite painful for our patients. So we're going to make sure that that roller starts at about that diaphragm level on the rib cage. An easy way to tell your patients is, for the ladies, is about the bra strap level, and for guys, you know, just tell them when they put their hands on their ribs, that's about the start point from here. So the key to this is that we want to make sure that we're coaxing and encouraging that nervous system to soften in the right direction. So how we're going to influence that tissue and the sensory components of what's happening through this region is that this tissue tends to get stuck forward and down, right? As everybody sits on their computer, they're sitting at home watching TV, they're texting, everything that they do is down in front of them, and we can see that that compresses and glues that tissue down through here. The gluing between the obliques and the serrates, the gluing between the serratus and the latissimus, and the gluing between the teres and the latissimus and the serratus is a very significant problem that prevents people from being able to reach up or reach forward and up, or even reach out. And so the compensation then is for all of this tissue on the top side, the supraspinatus, to be able to pinch and try to lift and rotate that up, and the deltoid is pinching and catching, and the trapezius is doing all of this work, but it can't compete against the latissimus and these teres and the serratus because they're so massive. So we're going to open up that area and get that nervous tissue to soften. So what we're going to have Jenna do is she's going to keep her arm, top arm, on top of the roller. That's going to help keep her shoulder girdle open. What a lot of our patients will do is that they'll rotate that arm down here or down over this way, and that starts to pinch and close off that top shoulder girdle especially, and we want to make sure that that stays nice and open and nice and soft. The other thing that we might see our patients do is that they might bring themselves up on their hand, and then they might try to push their rib cage into that roller, and we can see what that's doing to her spine here is that's really putting her into a lot of lateral flexion and compression, which is going to strain the neck and the shoulder girdle over here, and then it's going to compress her ups or her other side. So on this case it would be her right side. So what we want to have happen is that that left forearm is just going to rest on the ground, and it's going to increase the surface area and distribute the weight of the body so the shoulder's not working so hard. And again, if you have a patient who's struggling in this position, you just are going to show them the wall version right away. Don't even put them into a position where they're compromising the neck or that shoulder girdle if that's a big issue for them, because we're going to get just as much change out of this on the wall as we are on the floor. So what we're going to have Jenna do is she's going to lift her weight off of the roller just a little bit, and she's going to position herself so her sternum and her belly button and her nose are all facing at about a 45-degree angle towards the ground. That's going to be our start position. So it's putting her just on the front side of that serratus, kind of the oblique line through here. So from here, all she's going to do, stick her slow, is she's just going to roll herself from the front towards the back. Now her end point is going to be just a little bit past vertical. So if this is our neutral position, and we're going to call this vertical, if I put a stick on her spine, it would be vertical. If she rolls back just a little bit, we're going to come back, I don't know, 5, 10 degrees maybe. As soon as she goes beyond that, what starts happening is that she starts straining through the abs to try to keep herself up in this position, and it's going to put extra tension and pressure and stress through the neck and the shoulder girdle, and this whole front chain is just going to contract to keep her from falling over backwards. So that we don't want to get to that point. We want them to stop right before where that point is. So she would lift herself off, reposition, nice and easy, stick her slow, work through that line, and we're going to have our clients work the same spot 2 or 3 times, and then that's it. After the second or the third time, what we're going to have them do is move the roller more superior on the rib cage, and they're just going to repeat that process. Now, the beautiful part to this is that it doesn't have to be painful. I've actually seen in some certain exercise studios after their workouts that they actually make their clients go over to a barbell on a bench press machine and to rub this area out on those barbells or on those dumbbells, and people are black and blue through this area. They actually have inflammation because they're causing tissue damage. The key with this is that it's soft and easy, and that's going to change the danger receptors or the nociceptors, so they say, oh wow, this isn't too bad, and it's going to allow that tissue to open up. And there's a tremendous amount of gluing that happens from this lateral border of the scapula, and so when this is pinching and holding on here, our clients lose the ability to reach up. So if we can get change through this tissue, and all of a sudden we get those teres and that gluing between the latissimus and the teres and the serratus to let go, she can have that range of motion because all of this tissue can open up through here instead of holding on and pinning that scapula down and forward. So this is going to be a big game changer for shoulder pain because, again, the competitive aspect between the superior portions and the inferior portions, they just can't really compete against each other because that inferior portion is just going to stay locked and glued down. It's going to start causing inflammation and all sorts of other issues in the top of that shoulder girdle. So this is one of the most undertreated areas in my experience clinically in regards to helping our patients address their shoulder girdle issues. And the more you can help them work through this lateral border of the scapula and lateral rib cage in a safe, comfortable way, you're going to help them have so much better range of motion, coordination, strength and power, and most importantly, that can transition into a significant decrease in pain for your clients.